Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Muppin Sewing Emporium. It is Friday, and that means it is time for our show. I have to say, it has been the prettiest weather for February. I'm not gonna lie, February being what it is, I am actually extremely shocked that we have nearly 60, almost 65 degrees today in beautiful downtown Paducah, Kentucky. I hope you are having a fabulous day. Today, is this weekend is the last weekend for our Valentine's Day special. That means we are going to be retiring our gorgeous Valentine heart display. We only have a couple left. So today would be that day if you would like it to arrive by Valentine's Day. That would be 10 fat quarters in a heart-shaped bowl for $30. And you can find that right there at our website. So I'm very excited about that. I have a brand new, well, is it new? Is it new if it's old? It's new to you. I have a new to you product that we have had in the store for some time, but we just got restocked on these, and I'm very, very excited to bring these back to show you. So let's talk about it. Right. So I'm going to bring in the little camera and let's show this. Make sure over on the interwebs that this is actually showing. So let's do that, shall we? My goodness, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today is nice, beautiful today. Oh yay, it is working. Yay. All right. So, of course, I here to show you. This is called Grandma's Silver Spoon Pincushion Kit, and it makes one of these. And in case you need to see one of these live and in the flesh, I did make this one this week, and I made this one like ages ago. And oh, look at how cute. Look at how cute that is. And so this is one of those projects you find any silver spoon that you have. But guess what? This comes with a spoon. It does indeed. It comes with a piece of Osnaburg. It comes with even a little doily, some fabric, and included in the package is an alphabet so that you can do your own monogram on your silver spoon project. So, so easy, so fun. And yeah, you just take your, and this is a great little pincushion that can fit in your sewing box. It's great for your travel sewing kit because again, it's fairly small. It's got a nice little handle. I love it. Now, one of my friends suggested that if you have a handy husband, he can bend the spoon handle around, and then you can use this and attach it to your sewing kit, etc., so it doesn't get lost, so it just stays attached. But how cute is that? Now each of the spoons in these kits are different, so you're gonna get, if you order from us, you're gonna get the random spoon. This project was put together by a company called Down Memory Lane. They are mostly retired at this point, and I reached out to them ages ago because I mean, I had one of these kits like a really long time ago, and I asked, I said, I really want to carry this in my store. I loved making this when you had this as a kit that I bought from a show. I mean, we're talking like 20 years ago. And they said to me, oh yeah, we can't find the spoons anymore. So we've stopped offering the kit. And I said, oh, I have plenty of spoons. And so, um, yeah, so I was able to have them send me the parts for the kit, and then I have added the rest. So I've we make the spoon, we do the spoons, we do the fabric and the doily parts, but they are the maker of the kit. So it's a nice collaboration. It's a nice way to give them you know, the to be able to buy that pattern from them, which just makes me so happy. But there you go. So that is the grandma's silver spoon pin cushion kit. You see, there we go. And they're $25 and they're available on our website right now. So you're going to want to grab one. So that's the spoon pin cushion kit. Let's see if I can get it to show up. There you go. Yes. So we did an M for Muppin. And then I had this one. This is like the only gold spoon that I collected in it's the only gold spoon I have. If you are a spoon collector, you're going to want this little pattern just because you will be able to use all of your spoons to make like the darn cutest little pin cushion. So this has got like little pins in it, and so you can see how that looks. It's so adorable. Really so cute. So once again, my friends, this is new but old. We had these. We've now restocked them with the spoons, and I'm very excited. So we have that. All right. The other thing is, I found this when I was going through the storage unit, and I don't even know what this is. So we're gonna pull this up and see, because you know, part of this whole thing is going through the our storage unit. We're trying to get all of this stuff cleaned up, brought to the building where we can. But some of this, I mean, it's so like weird what is in here and what's not. Oh, okay. So this is a top that is for and it looks like it's been pulled apart. I feel like this has been pulled apart because you can see here this is already folded over, and it looks like that's where a stitch line was, and you can see here some of the other pieces. So I don't even know where I got this. Wow. Okay. So this is just a collection of blocks, and of course, these have been around the block. So these little sunbonnet Sues, they are stitched together. They've been machine appliqued and then hand stitched over the top. So this is very unique. Okay. So we've got like a couple of those. So we've got two. Let's see how many are in here. Because that's really like, there we go. That's a little better. It does look like this has been picked apart from what it was, because there is damage here. And it does look like back in the antiquity, she pieced together the backgrounds. So they were pieced. So that's interesting. So we've got 3, 4. And this is probably a feed sack. So that's 4. 5. Yeah, that's probably another feed sack. Somebody must have taken this whole thing apart at one point. So there's 5. 6. Some weird staining going on here. A sashing. 7. Little 7, number 7 there. And 8. Look at that. Cute, cute. 8, 9. I don't even know how many's in this bundle. This is what I get when I have like old blocks that I don't know what to do with, right? So that's 10. 11. Here's 11. She's yellow. I like this yellow. There's 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. So there's 17 blocks in this Sunbonnet Sue pieced monstrosity. And it looks like, again, someone took this apart back in the day. This was not me. Could have been recently, could have not been recently. Like recently in like the last couple decades here, because this is not really that new. Look at that green. Lots of staining. So these need a little bath. But look at this, that, like even the backgrounds have been pieced. So 17 pieces. So we've got like, this bundle that I don't know where I got, but that's just par for the course with my piles of vintage stuff. But I saw this bundle all folded up and I thought, oh my gosh, I gotta see what this is. And like I said, they're all machine embroider or machine appliqued. So you can see that that's machine stitching. And then they've been gone over with some hand embroidery. So interesting blocks. Would love to see somebody finish this someday. So one of the things that we are going to be doing is in our shop for Quilt Week. There's a giant pile, stuff like this. That giant pile of stuff like this, we are putting out specifically for Quilt Week. So if you are considering coming in for Quilt Week, this is your chance to shop my vintage stash. Stuff like this, again, it's hard to say when these were made. Everything about the fabrics says 30s, 40s. Yes, they did machine applique back in that time period. So, this would be a really great project for someone to finish. More than likely, I will, be letting go of this one, but there are others that I have that are also going to go into that sale. So, Quilt Week, that's the last week of April. Come on down to Paducah, and you will be able to shop the vintage stuff. So this is just going to be part of that. I'm going to put this back on it because I want to try to keep these all together. But Yeah, so this is just how it be. We keep finding all of these vintage things, and they got to live somewhere. But they can't live here anymore. They they have to find homes. I who love to be the home of wayward vintage linens. Um I just can't be that person any longer. It's too much, I tell you. Okay, so tonight um I'm bringing back to it. It's new. It's not new to me. It's maybe new to you. This project is um my tuffet. Now, I don't think I've ever shown a picture of, so I'm gonna find a picture of a tuffet really quick. Um so this is from a company called Tuffet Source. They are very uh they're very popular. I'm gonna share my screen here. Let me hide this one and pull up the other one. There we go. Okay. So this is what I am trying to make. This is a tuffet from Tuffet Source. And as you can see here, there's lots of embroidery on this one. There's a ton of these. Oh, I tried to show the gallery, and the gallery was like, no. Apparently, this gallery is also a no. Well, bummer. I want to show a tuffet. Okay, so here's the tuffet from their website, but essentially this comes as a kit, and you can buy it as a kit. And as you can see here, you buy the whole thing, and it's got little feet, and they've done all of this work for you. Now, what's cool about theirs, and I'm just going to go back a page, they have a pattern for, see, this is better. Okay, so they have a pattern for how to do the stripes on the tuffet. If that's what you want your tuffet to be. If you want it to be stripes, you can do that. If you want it to be solid, you can do that. And if you want it to do all kinds of other stuff, you can do that too. So here's another one. People have made these out of like neckties and all kinds of really cool stuff. But so here's what's like included is these little pieces, and that's what I am doing today. Well, not right today, but this is what I'm doing. So here is the fabric foundation piece for the tuffet, and I am doing a tuffet of different fabric manipulations. This is not a tuffet that anyone will actually use. I think maybe when I retire or die, or someone will then put their feet up on this. But for now, that's not what's going to happen here. So here is the piece that this will cover, and what is going to happen here is um I don't have the curds away to go with it. Now, Jerry, I would say yeah, I don't disagree. Tuffets definitely need a Miss Muffet, right? So I will be the Miss Muffet. This is a pattern. Now I've just drawn this on here with a friction pen. So if you need a friction pen, you can get one from our website. And these are the erasable, we go through this every time I talk about these pens. This is heat erasable. And so it comes with a rubber eraser. So typically, you write on your paper, and then you can, if you make a mistake, okay, you can just rub and it will come off. Now this, if you rub, okay, it does come off, but what this pen is heat erasable. So, in order for these marks to disappear, and before you come at me, I'm going to explain this in a second, but you erase with heat. So, you iron over this or you steam iron over it, and those marks disappear. Do they come back? The answer is yes. If you put this fabric, paper, whatever you are using, if you put that into a cold environment like a freezer, the trunk of a cold car, that kind of thing, yes, these marks come back. So this is only for things that you will either stitch over the top of or any kind of applique that will cover these marks, or something similar like that. And that is what we are doing here. So we're doing that with, okay, and I don't need the the template, the fabric template underneath. I don't need that. I just need this. And we're doing that with what is called rouleau. And rouleau is this is a French technique that was in the French court in about the 1700s. This is, I think, is as early as I have seen it. And what we're going to do is this material, which I have already pre-made, this material is essentially a very, very thin, cut on the bias fabric strip. And what I've done is I have taken the edges and folded them in, and then folded them again, and then whip stitched this into like yards, and you're going to need a lot. So you're going to need this to make a lot. So now there is a place on the tuffet, right, where this from here, the shoulder, to here, the tuffet is the tuffet side. Okay, so that I have marked on here, and anything below here is going to get like tucked under the tuffet. So I don't really need to do the technique beyond like these marks. So that's why it really stops right here. So this is how, if you like to see a lot of the jackets from like Downton Abbey, this would be how these are done. Basically, this fabric will stand up on the surface of this, and it will go around and follow all of these edges. And you're like, how is that going to happen? Well, I'm going to do it so you can see that. So rouleau is very old. It was very fashionable in the 18th century, like 18, sorry, 17th century. I always get the century numbers confused because it's like 18th century is really 1700s. Is that right? Yes. No. I don't see, this is where I get confused with the dates. 20th century was the 1900s. This is how I have to do it. I have to go backwards. 20th century was 1900s. So 19th century was 1800s. So this is a popular in the 19th century. Around 1820s, so like the Jane Austen era, the what's called the Spencer jacket, which would have been worn over just a like a tea gown. The Spencer jackets, they were very popular, and this is how they go. So I'm going to just come up through the back here. I'm gonna anchor my knot because I don't want that to come back out. So that's just a secondary stitch right there. And then because this has been cut on the bias, it has a lot of curve ability, which means that as I go through all of these like fancy curves, they will be very they'll work out really, really nicely. So my goal here is to just catch the edge of the rouleau on the stitched closed side. And I'm putting that down on the mark that I have made, my design. Now I just kind of freehanded some examples of what that of the typical like curves. I did that just by freehand. So my goal here is to attach this, and we're going to take tiny stitches and you kind of want to, you're going to stitch from one side and then you're going to flip it over and stitch from the other. So because you want this to stand upright on the fabric. If you fold it over and you do all your stitches from one side, it's going to have a tendency to want to lay in that direction. So you want to take a stitch on one side and then a stitch on the other. So I'm just kind of lining it up there. So that's this side, and then I come up and through this side. And that is going to allow it to basically flip-flop. Because we don't want, and this is a long piece. So we're trying to keep the bulk of it out of the way while we do this stitch. Here's this side. And through here. We're just trying to catch it. See, it wants to knot itself up with the threads. Anyway, so I saw this technique first done on someone who was recreating a Spencer jacket for Hamilton, the show Broadway show. And I thought, oh, that's a technique I haven't seen before. And so I started doing some research and really kind of fell in love with the look. Now, if you like a lot of coats or any kind of material that you want to have a decorative, element that sticks this far up, um in order for that to be part of the same material, that's where you cut small strips of that same material and you make these strips by hand and then apply them. And they uh that's how you get that sort of matchy look. A lot of the like coat lapels in Downton Abbey are done this way. So if you watch, usually Violet, the Dowager Countess, has a lot of these coats made with this technique. It's just really cool. But so I'm getting here to a corner where we're going to have to turn. And so what I'm going to do is take just some extra stay stitches here and then bend bend the curve here. You can see that. And I'm going to come up on the other side here. Now my goal is to try to keep this strip directly on the drawn line. And that will keep me from having to do too much to remove the lines afterwards. And really underneath, this is just like a running stitch, essentially. So you can start to see that here on the bottom is just like a little running stitch, right? Because we're just catching it from the back here, just to that edge, this folded edge. Now I'm going to need a little more to get through here. And like I said, I want to alternate which side I'm leaning this strip towards, because what I don't want to do is have it permanently like leaning towards one side or the other. So this can be stuffed as well. And I have done that on a quilt in the shop. So if you do come into the store, you can see that particular quilt in the shop. This technique is, pretty old. It's nearly 200 years old. But I think it gives a beautiful height to the project. So you've got that first curve that I did there, and now I got to start going around these little loop-de-loos here. Is that their official name? Loop-de-loos? I don't know. This is what we could learn to do in fabric manipulation. I like this one. Cheryl, so on the 19th, this is one of the ones you guys will do. So come on back on the 19th. I'll see you there. Uh-oh. This said Facebook stopped my broadcast. Huh. I wonder why. Let me double check to see if this is still going. Because what just happened? Um, Oh, Cheryl, yeah, it says you'll be there. Yay. Awesome. Okay, so it looks like on Cheryl's Laboda Facebook page, I'm still live. Mary says she still sees me. Let me check the other. Let's check Muppin Sewing Emporium, see if I got dumped over there. Nope, I'm still there. Okay, so I'm still alive on Facebook, yo. Thanks a lot, Facebook. Um, I'm not going to try to anger the Facebook gods today. Judy says, I see you. Look at your beautiful flower in your profile picture. That's really gorgeous. So yeah, this is the so I am teaching over at the McCracken County extension office as part of their adult education. So we're doing some fabric manipulation classes there. And Jerry says, I'm still alive and kicking. And that is true. So here's a pretty tight curve. And this is where more stitches are better. And also alternating the stitches on either side is important, right? So because this is the portion we want to stand. See how nicely these are all standing up? And we want that to stand up as it goes around these curly cues. So the goal here is to make sure that we're doing that on both sides. And so that means that every once in a while, I have to take my stitch to the other side, and it can get pretty tight in here, but it's just about picking up those stitches. And we don't want to create any like bumps, lumps, and hopefully our the bias that we've cut these strips on is going to help us do that. Okay, so I'm going to take another stitch on this side, and then I'm going to flip to the other side, but I'm going to trying to go down into the background fabric, and then we'll come out on the other side. And that way, and we're trying to keep these tight because we want this to stay attached to our background. This is a really neat technique. This is very old. It's called rouleau, Rouleaux. It's very French. Yeah, I've also seen it without the X on the end, so it depends on some of the fabric manipulation books you might be reading. I definitely have seen a lot of this discussed in older books, mostly textbooks about sewing. And so you're going to start to get this, so you can start to see this. We want this to stand up. We don't want it to, kind of lean floppily over to one side or the other, which is why it's important for us to switch which side we're sewing on. because we want that texture to stand up from the surface of the fabric. And once I attach this to the tuffet, it'll actually be really, really cool. Now I prefer sewing right to left. That's just my natural, because I'm right-handed. So I like to have my sewing direction to go right to left. And if you've ever tried to sew against your body, it can get kind of tricky to do that. So I try very hard to keep the bulk of the rouleau strip over here and my thread over here so that they don't get too tangled up. All right, so we're now getting to this next hairpin turn. It's like a racetrack. And we've got to bend. I've taken an extra stay stitch here so that I can bend the strip in the direction I need it to go, because I want it to be anchored right there. It doesn't look as interesting here as it does when it starts to do the loop-de-loops. I just think it's just neat. And like I said, you don't want to take too many stitches on one side versus the other. You want to do an alternating sort of pattern. I will say this is like the one I normally, when I teach fabric manipulation techniques, I will say something to the effect of, you don't need to match your thread to your fabric because you're never going to see the stitches. This is not that time. You are going to want to have your stitches be nearly invisible in this process, because if you don't do that, then you could possibly see little pops of that different color, and nobody wants that. So I would say, if you can, this is the one time where you really, really want to match your thread to the project, to the fabric, as best as you can. And to use also as thin a weight of thread as you can as well. Typically, and I'm a firm believer in, when you sew your thread content should match the content of the fabric. I'm sewing with cotton here because we have cotton. This is cotton fabric. But if you were using a polyester or, a silk, you want to use natural fibers with natural fibers and non-natural fibers with non-natural fibers. So I would say that this is the one time where, if you can't get if this is, you're working with cotton and you can't find a color that is very close, this would be the only time I say to go and get it in whatever color you can match, because this is where it matters, because it does pop out occasionally. So here's and again, like, these weirdo loops things, they look weird until you put the fabric on it. Then it looks amazing. Right? Then you're like, "Oh, I get it." Um, yeah. So there's that. Um, but I normally tell people to not worry about color as much as fiber content. Like get close because no one's going to see the thread. But in this particular case, you don't want someone, and there's always someone who walks up to your project and is like, I can see your stitches. And I just tell those people I unfriend you because I don't need that. But if you need to unfriend some people for looking, then there's that. But so, you know, so here we are alternating sides from one side to the other. And we're trying to see how nice that looks. It's so cool. All right. And this this is a lot of loops. This is going to be a long, long, long piece. You're going to need a long piece. And that's why I have strips, why I have more strips made, and they're ready to be attached to the end. Because you know, you just don't know how much you're going to need at first. So that's what I'm trying to do, is to attach some, make some more, attach some more, make some more. Keeps the project going when I do that. Otherwise, I start to get like frustrated because all I'm doing is making the the rouleau strip and not actually doing the technique. And so that's how I alternate it for myself, is by doing that. Now this strip is long enough, or at least wide enough, that you can flip flop it to each side, and you can see that curve there. We're making that curve. So I don't know. It's it's going. We're getting to another curve here. And we're going to get to that little divot. Once you start attaching it, it goes on pretty fast. Okay? I mean, it's not a very slow technique. It's I wouldn't say that it's necessarily slow making the strips. I do the strips while I watch television. Those of you that are like, Cheryl, what do you do when you're not working? And a lot of people, I do say, like, this is what I do when I'm not, they think this is what I do when I'm not working. Which is true to a certain extent. My thing, when I am not working, is I watch a lot of TV. I love television. I love movies. I love just, I love all that. And so I end up doing a lot of sitting in front of the TV. And this is making the rouleau I can do in front of the TV. Sewing it down, I cannot. Sewing it down, I have to do that. Like, I have to watch what I'm doing. So some techniques, like I've always said, like doing smocking. You can smock in front of the TV because you can look away from it and just know what to do next. But this is one you can do both in front of the TV and not. So you can make the rouleau strip in front of the TV. Um, you cannot. You cannot do the other part. Uh, can't do this part without that. Um, I find that to be a little too hard. Okay, so as you can see, once again, I'm flipping to the other side because again, too many stitches on one end, uh, the right or the left side of this strip is going to create that flatness that we don't want. We want it to look at how much, see there, that's a lot of volume you're getting. There will be somebody who thinks you took the piece of fabric and you pinched it and sewed it. That's not what's happening here. Um, it's definitely following a drawn pattern. Now, if you start to look up rouleau and to look at traditional motifs, these sort of like frondy, I guess they to me they look like fronds. This is kind of what they look like to me. These sort of like, I don't know what do they call it? I don't even know. Like leafy shapes almost. Thank you, Mary. um they do have this sort of like, I don't know, frond, leaf frond shape to them. And so um that is what I am trying to sort of replicate here. So we're going to get down to this little bump here. There's another little valley, hills and valleys, as I like to say in my classes. There's always little hills and valleys in fabric manipulation. We're getting to a little valley here, and we're going to take that extra stitch, and that's going to allow me to flop this over to the other side. Okay, and then as you can see too, I'm taking my finger and I'm sort of like adjusting the stitch from the back here, trying to adjust it so that it stands more upright. Okay, and remember, we're only at the shoulder of the, so this is the side of the tuffet. Okay, so like this would be the side section. There will be 8 sections on my tuffet, and this is just one. And I have, how many do I have done? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So this is panel number 5. I don't have a plan for 6 through 8. I do have to come up with what panels 6 through 8 will be. I haven't gotten that far. I kind of done them as I just lost my thread. I kind of did them as I went. I knew that I wanted this one. I did finish a smocking panel, a gathered panel, and 2 pleated panels. So I'm kind of now going into like what I call the etc. category of the fabric manipulation. So typically, like my fabric manipulations, I have a gathers, smocking, and pleats, and then other. this is definitely in the other category. So this, and my stitches, I should probably take smaller stitches in these curves because I want them to be, I want this fabric to be, or this strip to be very secure to the base. But I'm also trying to flip back and forth so that I don't make this, so I make this stand more upright. Now here's where the bend is going to come together. And this is where it's important for this to be on the bias, because as you can see, I need that fabric to make that curve. And I probably need it to make that curve with a longer piece of thread. So I'm probably going to knot my thread very shortly here. Come on. There we go. But I want that to, see, there's a little divot, and I want to get that divot out. So I'm going to just take my needle and push it out. And this is a good place to stop because my thread is starting to get a little short. I will tell you that the length of your thread, if you are the kind of person, and I know you are out there, if you like to take those stitches until you have a little tiny bitty nub of thread left and you're like, I can get another stitch or two out of there, no, do not do it. They are still making thread, people. They will still make thread for you, and this is not a finite commodity. Okay, they're still making thread. You can still buy it. Robin wants to know what size needle is best for this. Well, funny you should ask. Our own needles, the Get to the Point heirloom sewing needles, they are long, thin. This one starting to get bent. So these are our needles. Of course, I recommend them for all of these techniques. I've totally heard there's a thread shortage. Yeah, no. They're still making it, my friends. They will still sell you some thread. So we've got a new piece here. And yeah. So those are the same people who will try to see how many miles they can go on an empty gas tank. When the indicator comes on and it's like, I've still got 10 more miles out of it. Yeah, that's the same person. Muppin's needles are the best. Thank you. They are. I'm not shy about saying so because they really are. I developed them specifically for this kind of stuff with this in mind. You know, that was the whole goal, was to keep my to develop the needles that I knew I needed to make, because they were the ones that I had to that I needed to use. Now I've seen people do stuff with these like little short bitty needles, and like, how can you even grab it? Like, you can see here that I'm doing a lot of moving with this needle. You need a longer needle to be able to do that. Doing something with like a little tiny bit on it, like that is not going to get you a whole lot of traction on both the needle and on everything else you need to be doing with this. So, so I'm gonna again, I've stitched for a while on that side, so I'm gonna now switch to the other side so that I can keep this standing upright, because the more stitches I take on one side, the more that fabric is going to want to lean. I gave my last tube to my new quilting friend. So I will see you tomorrow. That sounds fantastic. That is awesome. Thank you, Charlotte. I do appreciate that. We have had so much love about our needles in general, and I will say that it was our number one selling product for now 2 to 3 years in a row for us. We just know everybody loves our needles. So we're gonna get here to this corner, and that's our hairpin turn again. And as you can see, I'm just gonna go right into that same spot so that it's anchored, and then I'm going to turn it. So you can see here, I'm turning it. So let's take a look at what we've got so far. So in our about 40 minutes or so here, I've completed that much. But this technique is more about the finish. It's an incredible technique. It's called rouleau. And I know you're really going to love it when it's done, but I have quite a bit more to do. So I thank you, Judy. I appreciate that. So with that, I'm going to run off here and finish doing a little bit more of this, but please come back next week. I'll have an update on this, and I'll start planning the next Tuffet section, because of course I've got to have more than one thing going on at any one time. I hope you had a wonderful evening. Thank you, Mary. I hope you have a fantastic weekend as well. Don't forget our Valentine's Day specials going on. 10 fat quarters, heart shape bowl, $30. You can grab that from our website or come on in. We have lots more coming in. We had all the meetings with the fabric reps this week. You're gonna really love the fabrics that I have coming in, my friends. It's very exciting. So I will see all of you. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, and I will see all of you